But it's also where the latte.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of The Week That Was. I'm Saeed Khan. It is in the 50s here in Detroit on May Day. I don't understand what is going on, especially when, as we know from one side of the aisle, there is no such thing as climate change. Well, we have, of course, a lot to talk about again in the these 7 days since we've last seen each other. We are joined with two of our three attorneys. We have veteran attorneys.
All three of them are here.
I don't see Bill Seikaly yet.
Oh, you're right. Bill's not there.
Yes,
I
yes.
always think of Steve as being
No.
Okay.
As
right. Okay.
As
Sorry.
Who's saying where Barb Ingalls legal mind, anyways?
Back to the spelling bee for me.
Barb, wasn't it Camper Van Beethoven that sang where the hell is Bill?
Where the hell is Bill? I love that. I haven't heard that one in a long time.
All right.
Well, we have
two of our three veteran attorneys on board today. We have Steve Fishman in sartorial splendor with a tie. We have on the other side of the coast in quite a bit of California chic. We have Joel Sklar. We have in our center square today pollster Ed Sarpolis, labor and community activist Barb Ingalls. We have veteran journalist Nancy Derringer, and of course, co-founder of Deadline Detroit, Allan Lengel. I can safely say, presumptively, that none of us were at the White House Correspondents' dinner last weekend, where it seemed like quite a bit of things were happening at what is sometimes known as the Hinckley Hilton. And by the way, apparently even John Hinckley commented on what transpired there when a gunman by the name of Cole Allen was caught with some shots fired, in the immortal words of Press Secretary of the White House, Caroline Leavitt. And I think we have some video to cover this, Alan.
To be perfectly frank, it's not even a nice thing. Nobody wanted this fucking dinner in the first. Nobody needed. We're so in this country right now. We can't even pull off a dinner that shouldn't have existed in the first place. K Jr. being whisked away by a Secret Service hive who apparently couldn't spare one worker bee for, I don't know, his wife. Do you see it? Do you see right there? There's a group of men carrying another man out of the room, and then there's a woman.
And we have one more where Triumph.
The insult comic dog.
Insult comic dog is asked whether he feared for his life at this event.
The insult comic dog, who is on the red carpet for the White House Correspondents' Dinner, trying to get interviews along with the rest of the press. Can't miss.
Please welcome our own intrepid reporter, Triumph, the insult comic dog.
Yes.
You gotta admit, hero is a little bit much, yes?
Oh, so what? Wolf Blitzer's a hero? Oh, he reported without one shoe.
About, to be honest, getting killed.
Yes, but mostly because I didn't want RFK Jr. to eat my carcass.
Wait a minute, he's not a raccoon. We are now joined with our third esteemed and veteran attorney, Bill Seikaly. As you see, Bill, we are talking. Yes, you can look all around, and you can find that Triumph is not there to interview you either. Well, okay, so just a little bit of a personal background. I have actually spent quite a bit of time at that hotel, the Hilton, which is just up on Connecticut Avenue past DuPont Circle. About 18 years ago, there was the U.S. Arab Economic Forum, and I was brought in as a consultant, and we held panels in that room. Security there, even with oil ministers, ambassadors, foreign ministers, the entire Arab League leadership, CEOs from various multinationals, was pretty damn tight. I imagine with the Secret Service, it's even tighter. What has gone on here to the point where it has now created conspiracy theories all over the internet and finding people talking about whether or not this was in fact staged? Yeah, Alan.
You know, I think the Secret Service, they've lost so many veterans. I mean, we've seen even when Trump was shot in Pennsylvania. I mean, we're seeing sort of a sloppiness from a lot of the veterans. I knew a lot of the veterans from Secret Service, and they're gone. And we're just seeing some lax security there. I mean, there should have been barricades in the lobby. There should have been a lot tighter. I mean, the guy checked into the hotel, the shooter checked into the hotel, and he had access to everything. And you see how lackadaisical they were as he runs by. They're suddenly like, whoa. I think
this reminds me of that movie with Clint Eastwood and John Malkovich, In the Line of Fire.
Very much so. More like a Manchurian Candidate to me. You know, I just anything that this administration says or frames, I just don't believe. You know, you cry wolf a zillion times. You lie to my face over 50,000 times. I'm supposed to believe anything that comes out of you? I don't. I'm not sure what happened here. I really don't know. I understand the conspiracy theorists. This is the only time in 2 years that Trump comes to this place. You know, I mean, there's a bunch of things to put together. I doubt everything from this administration, and I wouldn't be surprised if this thing was staged or semi-staged. I have a lot of questions. We still don't know what happened with the previous assassination attempts. There are no real investigations, no real disclosures of anything. You know, I don't trust anything that comes out of this administration. This is what they have earned. They've earned my lack of trust and everybody else's. I don't believe them.
Bill.
Yeah, I have a slightly different view, and there was an article along these lines in the New Yorker. I don't remember who wrote it, saying, "Look, I was there. I don't think it was staged, but it is something, maybe even a little worse." Two things. One, I can't believe how the press covered this. I just let's point something out. The president was never in danger.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
security worked. He was never in the room.
He was a floor and at least 2 security perimeters away from him.
Yeah, he was never in danger. But the press doesn't talk about that. The press, you know, he almost assassinated the president. Bullshit. He did not almost assassinate the president.
Well, that's why they protected Vance more than the president.
Well, I confess I did hear one person say we need to get better shots, but look, I don't know if it was staged or wasn't. I mean, you look at this, Trump's statements, certainly, to go to what Joel said, Trump's statements were a pure fabrication.
Yeah.
He said he saw the shooter. He saw what was going. That's all bullshit. He didn't see any of that stuff.
Didn't hear anything.
He couldn't have seen it. So you can't believe what's coming out of Trump's mouth. That's clearly true. But more importantly, the president was not in danger and security worked. I understand the issue that, you don't want anybody to get even this close, but the system worked.
Well, here's a legal question for Bill.
I think the press is afraid to cover this part of the story because they don't want the retribution from Trump.
Well, Bill, here's a legal question for you, Steve, and for Joel. Allan has been charged with assassination.
Okay, can anybody hear Saeed?
I can hear him.
There's an assassin. He's being charged with an assassination attempt. How can they prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he was in fact intending to assassinate the president?
He said he was going after the pedophile.
Which one? You think that's the only one?
I think it was based on what they got from his phone and whatever other writing.
Right. I mean, he basically laid it out in a pretty explicit email.
That was the first thought that I had, because for once, either this guy was starting up or he got himself a lawyer, and he wouldn't get interviewed and didn't say anything. So until we all got a chance to see what they uncovered with the other stuff, you guys are absolutely right. You don't need it out of his mouth. You need it out of something that's connected to him beyond a reasonable doubt. And if it's connected to him beyond a reasonable doubt and the jury believes that, you can convict. You're not required to have a citizen come in and say, hey, Seikaly told me this or Sklar told me that. You've got his own handiwork, basically, and that'll be the case.
Yeah, because he called his family before he did the job.
He emailed him. Yeah.
Did you guys read his manifesto?
I read it.
Yeah,
it showed admirably concise writing and self-editing, which, excuse me, Allan Lengel could learn a thing or two from.
Whoa, hey.
The thing that really got me about it is that
I didn't hear that,
Nancy. Nancy, is that you saying shots fired?
It was when it got down to the end of it, where he really got into the meat of what he was doing. This sent a message that was bigger than what happened. I mean, and this was just a guy that made a desperate attempt and he failed. I mean, it's good that he failed, right? We're not supposed to live in that country. We're not supposed to be like that. But you look at Luigi Mangione, the guy that burned the warehouses, the one that shot at Sam Altman. These guys are doing something. They're just tired of it. They're tired of it, and these are not big conspiracy guys. These are people that are going, I am so fucking tired of this. And I think that we should take it kind of seriously. And I mean, absolutely. And I also want to say, did you see Stephen Miller rushing his wife out with his hand firmly on her tit? That was one of my favorite moments. It's like, really?
I think
it's an opportunity.
He's using her as a shield.
No, he wasn't. I mean, I am never going to cut Stephen Miller any kind of slack, but here's the deal. When the Secret Service started getting those guys out, as you pointed out, or John Stewart pointed out, it's like they don't say, "Excuse me, sir, would you come with me?" I mean, they pick you up and they bum rush you, they frog march you. It's like getting kicked out of a bar, after you've had 17 drinks.
But when somebody yells shots, is that why Kash Patel ran to the bar?
But what he did was, she was in front of him, and I actually prefer him, pushing her out ahead of him, because knowing that the guys were behind him, than RFK's trick of letting Cheryl, that the woman behind, leaving his wife to kind of pick up his napkin and go with him. But I just want to say one thing about this whole situation. One reason I think that people believe that this was a false flag, and I don't, I think it was the real deal, is did anybody see the graphic somebody put together of about 25 X posts that came within like an hour after this whole thing unfolded, all saying the same thing, i.e., now it's time for the president to get his ballroom. And plainly the White House has like a close circle of so-called influencers, and it was the people like, libs of TikTok and Jack Posobiec and, the usual suspects that you'd expect. And they all said, it's like they're all speaking in unison. It's like that tape of the Sinclair anchors, reading the statement, as one. It's the White House sends out the message, they amplify it. All the people who pay attention to them then amplify it. And when it's coming out at a time when you're supposed to be asking, was anybody hurt? It looks really suspicious, and I'm not surprised people have that idea.
I agree.
I mean, the other thing, I was watching it. I when I was in DC, I never wanted to go to the thing, but I always did want to watch on C-SPAN the comic, who just roasted the room, and it's gotten so, John Stewart put it correctly. It's insane. This thing should never have happened. It's gone off the rails. They've done everything. They cleared the way so there wouldn't be a comedian attacking Trump. And yet Trump had probably an hour speech that was just going to shit on the media. And they're it's gone way out of control. I think the people who are running that organization, the Correspondents' Dinner, have just lost their way. I think it's time for the dinner to be eliminated. It shouldn't be there anymore.
Steve.
My question to you journalist folk, why would I understand why the right-wingers might have. Why would anybody else go to the thing? Once they knew that Trump was going to talk, why would anybody go?
It's a
That's
party.
a good question. I wouldn't go.
It's a popular party. People want to be seen there. It's a big night out. All the big names are there. People want to be there. It's an event. There's after parties. There's pre-parties. Bloomberg used to have the best post party. It's just a whole social thing, but it's total bullshit. It's disgraceful. People are taking these reporters who are supposed to be fighting the power, checking the power. They're dressed in tuxedos and they're taking their +1 who could be like the CEO of General Electric, the CEO of GM or whatever. It's just turned into a shit show. Bullshit.
Phil.
Look, I agree with Allan, but you would have expected, to Steve's point, you would have expected that given what Trump has done to the press, what he said about the press, and how he handled this, that there would have been at least a significant group of journalists to say, you know what? If Trump's going to this and if Trump's controlling it and he's not allowing us to control it, we're not attending. But you didn't see any of
that. There may have been journalists who didn't.
The only one that I know that boycotted it was Zedio, which is Mehdi Hassan's outfit. They came out and explicitly boycotted that. Ed.
But you know what?
I agree with you, but I was saying today that the PGA Championship down at Doral, there's almost nobody there.
Yep.
Okay, that's where you look at nobody, and most of the professionals are not there. So that's an example. Looking at the court, there's nobody watching. That's what had to happen there. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. But you know what? You've got to wonder how much of their refusal to boycott it has to do with their fear of retribution. Look what's going on with Jimmy Kimmel.
Right.
For God's sakes.
Yeah.
I mean,
funny you should mention that, Bill, because it seems as though there were two weaponizations after this incident. One was bringing up the ballroom, which the president did as soon as he gets back to the White House. 30 minutes later, scheduled press conference, and he's pushing that. And the other is POTUS and FLOTUS sort of double teaming Jimmy Kimmel, calling for him to be fired yet again from ABC for cracking a joke. And I think, Allan, we've got some video about that, don't we?
Trump was very excited about hosting the king, and a lot of it is because Trump's mom was a great fan of the royal family.
My wonderful mother, Mary McLeod. She came to America at 19, met my incredible father. We loved him so much. We all loved him. We loved her. We loved him, Fred, and they were married for 63 years. And excuse me, if you don't mind, that's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. Just not going to work out that way.
Wait a minute. Did he just make a joke about his death? My God. He should be fired for that. Only Donald Trump would demand I be fired for making a joke about his old age and then a day later go out and make a joke about his own old age.
Hey, Melania, didn't not even crack a smile.
Oh, no.
Clearly supposed. She hates him.
Really going like this.
What made the Kimmel joke so funny is he said, she has the glow. She's looking so beautiful. She has the glow of an expectant widow, and it's like. And he said, well, it's a joke about his age. And it's like, yeah, but it's also a joke about the fact that this woman is clearly despises her own husband.
And he made the joke before the shooting. I mean, it wasn't afterwards. Actually, it was before even.
Yeah, it was. Exactly.
If you watch the monologue after all this happened, he said that. He said, it was a joke about the fact that, one, there's this huge age difference, going to die first, and two, she does not seem very fond of him.
Well, Nancy, that's because her safe word is Trudeau. So,
did you see her smiling at the king? She had an honest to God, like a human smile on her face. Like he had actually charmed her.
I'm still waiting for the artist, the recording artist, to remake that song, that Bobby Gentry song, Fancy, and do it in an East European accent and make it about Melania, because that's basically her story. You know, she was turned out as an escort and she ended up on the top, you know, in the First Lady. So that's
no, I'm not going to.
Okay.
Well, you have
side piece, but that's okay.
Nancy, you have time this summer, don't you? I think you can do that. So,
can I ask Ed a question? Oh, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
I was going to ask Ed if he has any numbers about how people are feeling about the legacy press, legacy media right now, because I think that's the other.
Well, the problem with the legacy press is getting hit because they don't think the legacy press is actually being, well, the conservative side, they're just not being fair to the president, okay? And then I was actually listening to some Iranian things, the fact the American press is, you know, only tells one side of the story. So there's a mixed bag out there on the press right now, okay? And that's the problem, because everybody assumes that if you're telling the news or telling the president you're way awoke and you're way liberal, you don't really have a common sense what the data is. And I was even watching, so that's the problem.
Well, I mean, part of now that you're talking about the Iran war, I mean, we have military experts, either retired or active. We have spinmeisters. No, we don't really have policy people, and no one is really talking about the legality of the war, either when it comes to Congress and oversight, or even when it comes to international law. And foreign press certainly leads with that, speaking from a bit of experience. But on the subject of polling, Ed, there is some new polling regarding the Michigan U.S. Senate race on the Democratic side. There is some polling regarding the GOP governor's race. And of course, yesterday, there was the Oakland County Republican Party that hosted the GOP governor's debate. Conspicuously absent was John James, but he seems to be the front runner still by a long shot, with Perry Johnson having provided a lot of funding and the mantra 47-47 capitating through my head.
Well, I will tell you the poll from Glengarriff, the John James, Perry Johnson thing, that data was a little bit off, because I've been talking to a lot of the Republican pollsters, and that's the outsider over the last month. Perry Johnson right now has probably already spent almost $30 million. He's got another $30 million already donated to him from evangelicals across the country. And basically, John James, he's getting about $25 million from Betsy DeVos, because Betsy and Trump is now mad at each other still. For those, the ladies know how bad they broke that bait. So the bottom line is, John James basically is still running on the ads where you want to be my co-pilot. So the real traction is Perry Johnson. I think that poll was a little misleading on the John James story, because he really hasn't done anything at all. What I like about the poll, though, on the U.S. Senate side, on the Democratic side, that shows that basically over the last month, McMurrow has shot herself in the foot many times, especially in Wayne County and Ann Arbor. We talked about this on the show. She's ignoring the black community. Even at the convention, she just was a little bit arrogant. Okay, so she's pairing that. And number two, Al Sayed basically is now getting some of her senior voters, because he's had the Bernie Sanders voters. And Haley Stevens moving up is because Al Sayed is taking votes now from McMurrow, allowed Haley Stevens, who's still hurting in the poll numbers, to run for the pack of the pack.
Ed, I'm sorry, Alan, but McMurrow also shot herself in the foot because apparently she deleted 6,000 tweets, including many which really were dissing Michigan in favor of her native California.
That's true, but some of her comments in private events in Metro Detroit and Ann Arbor. And the other thing, remember, Al Sayed, with all the money he's now spending, that he's getting courtesy of the Rashida campaigns, is the fact that he owned pretty much Ann Arbor and Detroit, along with Sharice Allender, back when they ran for governor. McMurrow's the new kid on the block, and that's what's happening there.
I just, to me, I'm getting echoes of Nancy Kerrigan saying at the Disney parade, "This is so corny," and Mickey Mouse is just horrified by this. And it seems like McMurrow is similarly saying, "Michigan's so corny." But anyway, Alan.
I was going to ask Ed about the Glengarriff poll, which also showed that but 86% of the Michigan Republicans approve of Trump. And of that group, of the MAGAs, 100% approve of what he's doing. How does that? I think a lot of Democrats always think like, okay, Trump's losing support. This is going to be really great for the Democrats. But are they? Is it really about the independents moving? The potential to move to Democrats, or is there?
What's happening now? The polling is now identifying Republicans that are true Republicans. They no longer include the Hispanics and some of the black males and some of the other things. That has left in the polls because they're no longer identifying themselves as a Republican. That happened to Democrats in the 80s. Everybody identified as Republican until Blanchard, until Engler was gone, and then they began flipping parties when Clinton got around. So the bottom line is that there is amongst Hispanics, black males, and it's starting to move away. But the core Republican, that's never changed. That's true in both parties.
Did anyone watch the debate last night?
No, because it was so unimpressive. I didn't even spend time.
Where was it? I didn't.
Auburn Hills. It was in Auburn Hills. Okay. Yeah. So I watched part of it after the fact, and it was. I mean, first of all, it was incoherent. I forget who it was up there, but he was stuttering his opening remark that was supposed to provide his zinger talking points. It kind of sounded like Frank Kennedy in Gone with the Wind. Yeah, a gentleman could always defeat rabble. I mean,
that's his normal patterns. That's where he normally is. Remember, we look at when he was running for president. When you look at when he originally started, he has not changed.
We're talking about Perry Johnson right now.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. But the point being with Perry Johnson, the fact that all that I'm seeing is religious extreme right. Okay, the ones that don't even like any of the popes basically are really, really spending money on him because they're the conservative side of the religious side of the Republican Party is tired of liberal religion. Okay, and they want to do that.
He is the most I would say he has like anti-charisma. I always think that like Rick Snyder was the most charisma-free politician in Michigan in recent memory, at least. I mean, the guy had this whiny voice, and he's just, he.
Wait a minute, Nancy, are you smitten by Shri?
But I saw one of Perry Johnson's ads the other day, and it was offensive to me. I mean, he was talking about, we won't give benefits to illegal aliens. It's like, they don't get benefits now. I mean, what is wrong with these people?
Because remember, he's only talking to the base.
I know he is. I know this is a primary campaign. I try to keep all that in mind, but it's just that's
a really good point by one of our viewers who said, going back to the Correspondents' dinner, the fact that the mentalists didn't see it coming is awesome. Thank you, Kenneth Reed. Well, I'm mindful that Steve is going to have to be leaving us soon, so I wanted to get to this thing. The Department of Justice has decided to indict yet again former FBI Director James Comey, this time based on an allegation that he had already signaled his plans, or at least instigated it, by putting in the sand seashells that said 8647. which, by the way, I verified that is his go-to combo choice at his fitness center. So we can acquit him. So, Steve, what do you see with this, and where is it going?
It's going nowhere. And what do I see with it? It's ridiculous. You just said it. You don't have to be a lawyer to figure that out.
No, I would agree.
And if you feel like it, just type in 18 USC 817 on Google, and you'll get a list, and just put in case law. And you'll get a list of cases that have talked about this issue, particularly the Supreme Court in the case called, I want to say, Wells, something like that. And they just read the case law. It's impossible for someone to conclude, a jury's never going to see this kid.
Yeah.
Allan.
I was watching Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, talk about it. People were saying, well, why now? And he said, well, there was a lot of investigation that went on.
Right.
And you're like, what did they ask? I mean, did they say, I understand Comey didn't like Trump. Is that true? Yes. Okay, we got him now. I mean, he can indict half the country.
Right now.
Bye.
Go ahead. Take care, Steve.
See you later.
Yeah, Barb.
You can't. The 8647 T-shirts on Amazon are flying out of the warehouses, which I think is really pretty funny because Bezos is like, well, I'll make money off of this. I don't care. But yeah.
Alan, I never realized a phrase could be more appropriate than the phrase "acting Attorney General" for Todd Blanche.
That is
Actually,
funny.
it should not be acting Attorney General. It should be interviewing Attorney General, because that's what he's doing constantly.
He should.
One thing to go back on the other issues, Bill, is the fact that Donald Trump initially commented on 8647 on an earlier speech, saying that he understood that was restaurant language. So he's already ruined his own case by some of his quotes in previous interviews.
Well, along with that, Ed, Caitlin Collins from CNN, and there you've got Gretchen Whitmer, our governor, with 8645, so kind of retro. But I believe that Caitlin Collins asked the president in the Oval Office about whether he feared for his life regarding James Comey, and he says, probably not. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I mean, could the defense actually call one witness, Donald J. Trump, to come and testify to say this? Because
that's wonderful. Yeah, I suppose they could.
Look, and I agree with Steve. If this ever gets to a jury, we ought to be really ashamed of ourselves.
Yeah, it can't get to a jury.
The system will be completely broken if this case gets to the jury.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Then you could say anything is threatening. Honestly, it's an absurdity. And again, it gets to show not only incompetence, but the ultimate willingness of people to sell their souls. I mean, Todd Blanche, he didn't need this. I mean, truly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what
brings all distraction?
Flame? What is going on? That is it. I can't believe it's. I don't understand it. But I don't understand it. A guy who had a reputation that was sterling does this.
Remember, he loves Trump. Remember, he said, "I love you, Mr. President." He loves him.
I want to read just a paragraph from the indictment, and you think of the seashells, and then you read this, and it says, "On or about May 15, 2025, in the Eastern District of North Carolina, the defendant, James Bryan Comey Jr., did knowingly and willfully make a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States, in that he publicly posted a photograph on the internet social media site Instagram, which depicted seashells arranged in a pattern making out 8647, which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of intent to do harm to the President of the United States."
You dumb fuck. Can't you just like do a responding affidavit saying you people are all dumb fucks and we're just going to ignore this shit?
You can do that in a motion to dismiss.
Yeah.
Grand jury. I cannot imagine what the grand jury.
I know.
And there's
if I were on the grand jury, I'd be going.
There's some accusations that Todd Blanche violated the issue of the privileged testimony before the grand jury, because he said they heard testimony regarding this issue. That's interesting. What testimony could they possibly have heard?
Yeah.
Where somebody says, "Yes, I know James Comey hates Trump. He's told me 1,000,000 times he wished he was dead."
I think that's unlawful.
Like tens of millions of other Americans.
Yeah, wishing or
Well, they probably said that the Iranians bought all the Legos, so he couldn't have put 8647 made out of Lego pieces. So, Alan, why don't we go to a quick commercial?
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Well, Nancy, you weren't wrong when you read the body language of the First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump, as she was looking at King Charles III, saying, "Yes, you really are a true king." So, but what does it say about this recent visit? I mean, I know that the tensions have been certainly high of late between the United States and the UK. particularly over the Iran war, where the president has accused the little island of not supporting his folly in the Strait of Hormuz, and bringing out the king to come out here and not only smooth things over, play to the ego of our president, but also in many ways to re-educate us with his address to the Joint Chamber of Congress on American democracy, on American values, in what was really a masterful address to Congress.
It was concise. It was in English that was properly delivered. I mean, that clip that you just showed of Trump, as usual, breaking away from the script in front of him to turn around and talk to his wife, and he thinks he's so funny, and he's like, I mean, it could not have been a greater contrast between a bumbling oaf and a skilled, lifelong diplomat. Which is, by
the way, did you hear the math? I'll get to you in a second, Bill. That according to his own calculations about when his mother had a thing for Charles, that would have made her a pedophile too. So just, I guess All in the Family was not restricted to Gene Stapleton and Carol O'Connor. Bill.
I'm amazed. I watched this speech live. I thought it was masterful.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody seems to really be picking up on how he really just cut up the president and MAGA's positions. And it seems to me that it says something about the level of political discourse in this country.
Yep. It was a stiletto to the ribs.
That's right.
Sure. Yeah.
This guy, but he did it in a masterful way.
Yeah.
He
got applause from Republicans.
King Charles for president.
They were leaking until later.
And they may have really understood what he was doing, but I think Nancy's term fit perfectly. He was very diplomatic, but very candid, very honest, and really diced and sliced Trump's positions. And nobody's talking about that.
He cited Magna Carta, which, by the way, there are more existing copies of the Magna Carta than the number of golden visa cards or green cards that were handed out. So
I bet it sent all those Republicans to their Google to find out what the Magna Carta was.
Which, by the way, there's a copy at, an original at the National Archives. So all they have to do is walk over there. But the one person who heard the speech and still had a different opinion.
Wait a minute. Those Republicans would have said the National what?
Well, I think the verdict on the speech by my mom was still the best. She's like, yeah, but he still killed Diana.
So I saw John Wesley Harding, the British, now American singer-songwriter, the other night, and he went off on that. It was just the funniest thing to hear a Brit talk about the speech. He was like, you forget that he was actually a well-educated man. I mean, everyone's made fun of Charles for years, and rightly so, but he still had the stones to do it. You gotta love it.
Gordonston and then Trinity College, Cambridge, as a matter of fact. Well, but I thought his remarks, again, so subtle and yet so pointed. For all the American hubris that we go around telling Europe, if it wasn't for us, we'd all be speaking German. And he said,
yeah, right.
And and the way that he said, but actually, if it wasn't for us, you'd all be speaking French. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant.
Order filet of sole without embarrassing myself.
Yeah. Which I think again prompted Melania to say Trudeau.
I thought his line about redecorating the White House, referencing the burning of the White House.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, maybe we're too young of a country, Bill. Maybe we don't have these fine monuments as they do in England. I mean, castles and universities that are hundreds upon hundreds of years old. But fear not, because Alan, I think we have a video of how we can immortalize people in the United States.
A series of U.S. passports with an image of President Trump on the inside cover will be issued this year as part of the nation's 250th anniversary.
This is just another example of the president adding his name or image to government.
Who the hell wants Trump's scowling face on their passport? Based on how he's treated other countries, that thing is going to be like a Disney fast pass right to the cavity search line.
It looks eerily like his mugshot, I got to say.
It does.
But this is what frightened me is my passport is actually coming up for renewal in 2028 when he's still president. But apparently this is not going to be mandatory. This is if you want the premium.
And you have to go. Yeah, or if you go through the Washington D.C. passport office, it did send me my passport, and fortunately, I don't expire until 2033. So,
well, no, your passport doesn't. Hopefully, you don't expire anytime even after that.
Well, thanks for the heads up, though. But thanks for the heads up.
Well,
do we all have passports here? Does everyone?
I have to renew mine.
Yep.
I'm going to Pointe today, so I have mine out.
I was going to say, Barb, do you have one?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess because we all live close to an international border, we're more likely to have them. But I'm always
go to Europe. So
during the discussion of the SAVE Act, I was kind of shocked at how few Americans have passports, and it's it costs $169, and you don't if you don't travel abroad, you don't need one. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised. But I feel like I always want to be ready to flee the country. So
now you can get the Michigan enhanced driver's license, which allows you to cross into Canada without the need of a passport. Well, I still have both. I have my British passport and my U.S. passport, so I can
dual citizenship. Oh my god!
Yeah,
you lucky dog.
but who knows if SCOTUS then comes up with something on that. But speaking of SCOTUS, we do have, of course, a major case that came down this week where the Supreme Court has scaled back the Voting Rights Act thanks to a Louisiana case involving congressional districting. And I think we have video on that, Allan.
This morning, the Supreme Court delivering a major blow to the landmark Voting Rights Act.
The court's conservative majority ruling 6-3 that Louisiana's current congressional map with 2 majority African-American districts is unconstitutional, saying lawmakers allowed race to play a part in government decision-making. Democrats blasting the ruling, arguing that other majority black districts are now vulnerable to being erased.
That's right. The Supreme Court saw that Louisiana had 2 whole black congressmen, and they were like, whoa, what is this, Showtime at the Apollo?
This is Samuel Alito writing, race can only be taken into account when there's evidence that a state intentionally drew its districts to afford minority voters less opportunity because of their race.
That's crazy, all right? So just to be clear, for Alito, the map is not racist unless the guy drawing it finishes it and goes, man, I'm racist.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's a humorous exaggeration, but basically, that's exactly right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Bill and Joel, but wouldn't this involve a strict scrutiny standard? And isn't the burden on the government to prove it, not on the others to have to prove that there is a reason for redistricting? Yeah, in theory, yeah.
But look, I mean, this is the most disgusting opinion I've looked at in years.
I could get through it, to be honest with you.
It is totally offensive. Amongst other things, it throws out the notion that the Supreme Court should defer to the legislative determinations made by Congress. And it just throws them out. Because look, we're not dealing just with the statute from 1964. We're dealing with a renewal that occurred about 20 years ago, in which the Congress had determined that the problem was ongoing. They simply, Alito, in his opinion, just said, look, times have changed. That's not true anymore. The process, however, should require the legislature to make that determination, not the judiciary. So, this is probably the most offensive opinion, and I'm sure it's a calculated decision on the part of the court, because they said, you know what, in normal times, the legislature would take this up and legislatively overrule this opinion. They're dysfunctional. They can't get anything done. I have hopes that maybe after this next election, the legislature will consider legislatively overturning this opinion, because it is offensive. There will be, we'll go back to no or very few blacks in Congress with this opinion.
There are no, yeah.
You know, the blood of really brave people were all over the Voting Rights Act, including Detroiter Viola Liuzzo and Miss Amelia Boynton, who was beaten unconscious, and John Lewis, who had his head cracked open, and people were killed, and people were lynched, and people were shot and burned. And it's for the simple right of being able to vote, and you know, they've never gotten over it, and that's what drove Southerners to the Republican Party away from the Democrats, because they just couldn't stand it, and they've never gotten over it. And it made me sick to my stomach to see that. Just a few short weeks ago, the city of Detroit named a street after Viola Liuzzo. And if you don't know, if people that are watching, if you don't know about her, look her up. It was just an amazing thing that a woman left her 5 children to drive by herself to Mississippi because she couldn't live with herself if she didn't do something to help, and was shot in the head by the Ku Klux Klan for her pains. And I think that Alito's probably going to leave the bench soon. Am I right about that? So this gets to be his
mic drop moment.
Right.
Yeah.
This is it.
This has been John Roberts' goal since he was a young lawyer, was to gut the Voting Rights Act.
He has always hated the Voting Rights Act, John Roberts.
Just like, you know, it seems to me that the Republicans have adopted the myth that there is no racism, and the only people who are the victims of racism are white. And this is an affirmation by the court to say that. You know, racism is in the DNA of this country. We know it, we feel it, we see it, it manifests in real concrete ways. This myth, this bullshit myth that now there's equity and the people that are suffering, the poor white people who've had all this privilege, is an absurdity. But this is what's being adopted as to almost a reality. And it's this myth that we know is bullshit. And that's why I can't read these opinions. You can't tell me that Louisiana is not rife with racism. It's Louisiana, for the love of God. You can't tell me that legislatures, white legislatures, are not gerrymandering for their own purposes. I mean, the whole thing is just ridiculous.
More to the point, Louisiana is at least 40% black, I believe. I mean, you know, that's and they will have 0 black Congress people.
And you know what? One thing I want to share, because I do redistricting now since the 1980s. What I saw, if you look at what's happened in government, 75% of black leadership in the cabinet and in government has been removed. Black individuals, men, whatever, like that. 300,000 black women have lost their jobs under Donald Trump. Okay, right. I'm looking at Chicago right now. That with this here now, the Hispanics, which are gaining more seats, basically eliminate blacks having any council seats in Chicago. Because Black Caucus is a client of mine in Chicago. So bottom, this impacts a whole lot of people. Yep. And this makes the Trump people and MAGA people very happy.
If they could have been more intellectually honest, they could have. I mean, you could make an argument for this if they would have also said, and we're not going to allow gerrymandering for political purposes either. You know, we're going to try and make the system truly, quote, fair. But if you read the opinion, they say, oh, but, you know, gerrymandering for political purposes, you know, that's as American as apple pie. Well, so is racism.
That's the
for God's sake.
Just a little. Louisiana is a little over 30%.
Really? I thought it was higher than that. But okay.
Maybe
there's a lot of mulattoes in the state.
31 to 33.
Okay. All right. I mean, generally speaking, the South is has far more black people than you would think. I mean, you'd think that they all left during the Great Migration, but they didn't.
There's also a lot that never went back to the Ninth Ward after Katrina.
Yeah, but I mean,
they were permanently displaced.
Go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
Derek Henry says the Voting Rights Act was never set in stone. They made it reviewable. That's right. They did. They made it reviewable by the legislature, not by the courts.
Yeah.
So. Well, just to end on a little bit of perhaps a positive note, two things. One is looks like City of Ferndale is bucking the trend on Detroit's inner ring with a population growth, a net population growth. That's good. And also, hats off to Grosse Pointe North High School's alumni Jamie Ding for a 31-game streak on Jeopardy. He's left the state for New Jersey, but we still claim him. Actually, his father teaches at Wayne State. Nancy. I
love how he was always introduced as a bureaucrat, because yes. he's a public servant and he's proud of it, and I love that about him. That's of course my daughter's alma mater, and the best thing about that from an inside baseball Grosse Pointe point of view, and I'm sorry Steve isn't here to hear this, is the triumphalism of the North High School District, which is shat upon by its own realtors, by its own population all the time, because the test scores just aren't the same as at South, which any fool could explain to you why that is. And it's just hilarious that it was a North grad who.
One comment on Ferndale. I started working with them under city planning candidate back in the 1990s. What you're seeing today was a result of what they were doing in the 1990s.
Really?
They were attracting youth, attracting senior citizens. They start dropping all those jazz clubs. They did everything to attract the people that were missing downtown Detroit. Mm-hmm. I remember working with them back in the 90s. This is their plans that started in the early 90s.
Wow. And in Grosse Pointe, we had a mayor in the woods who for years said, we don't want to become Royal Oak.
Yeah, don't Royal Oak.
We are losing population. So there.
I'm so glad to hear that, Ed. I did not know that. And these numbers are really, if you dig into them, are fascinating.
Yeah.
So they have an increase of 1.7%.
That was planned out. For many of attorneys, many went back in the 70s. Ferndale was a big place where all students of law school had apartments and everything.
Because you could afford it.
Yes.
You could afford to live in it. They had all these houses with 1 million apartments. A lot of people that I went to school with before their first place away was in Ferndale. If you go to any of the little stores in Ferndale, like the Rust Belt Market or any of those little stores, it is stuffed with anti-ICE and anti-Trump. Probably they probably have just renewed their 8645. It's and the people I know that live there, they love it. They know their neighbor. I mean, it's crazy. It really is. And I like living in Royal.
It's more than it's how they attracted people. Their theme is you belong here.
Right.
Everybody.
But Bill, I just want to let you know that was started in 1990s. That was their whole plan of bringing the youth and the seniors together as a population. Those where they want to be at the end, and those who want something. Because remember, the other place was trying to do this with Ann Arbor, but they made it too expensive.
Right.
My daughter bid on a house in Ferndale and was
7% increase when the population's increasing by half of that.
Yes.
Although Ferndale's getting expensive as well. So.
It is.
Well, any place, look at you go to Detroit where they gentrify, it gets expensive. That's the problem.
Well, 1.7% increase. I mean, we'll be lucky if we get that for our GDP this quarter. So, fingers crossed. Well, Al, let's go to our last segment then.
Downtown Detroit, Robert Wells, Schmuck of the Week.
All right, Ed, who do you got for us? That's Schmuck of the Week.
Well, this is sort of old news because you may have already done it, but to me it's Justice Thomas, who's decided that he's the lead spokesman for the 250th anniversary, because he believes that our problem we're having today is because of President Wilson under being too progressive, and basically there's too much government control of our businesses. So bottom line, he says that our problem started with President Wilson. We're celebrating our fall because of Wilson and progressives.
Wow.
Of course, he doesn't criticize Wilson for being the degenerate segregationist that he was. So, I guess you gotta pick your
I'm not
battles.
sure that Thomas would put those two words together.
Barb.
We missed this today. Todd Blanche, who is charging, I know, he is charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with fraud.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's
Unreal.
it is such a fine organization. Bob and I were members for years and years. The work that they have done is so unbelievable. They had some leadership crisis a couple years ago that they seem to have fixed, and they are in the forefront. And it can't stand, right? I mean, this is another stupid thing, but it's just disgusting to see anybody go after one of the best, organizations that are out there for the people. It's disgusting.
Well,
Bill or Joel, did you look at the case? They're accusing them of doing what they were doing. Right. Because they were helping the FBI. Now they say they were cheating on the FBI.
It's absurd.
It's so really weird that, well, how can we're suing ourselves then, what you're saying?
And the money that they gave these organizations, they were paid informants, which the all the time. It's ridiculous. So,
well, and the FBI knew all about it. I mean, they worked in hand with them for many years.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, like the Anti-Defamation League, had their own private investigators who gather information on hate groups and work with the FBI and ATF. I would go every year to the International Chiefs of Police Conference, whether it was Florida, Chicago, whatever. The ADL had a breakfast where FBI officials, ATF officials, police officials were there. They share information about all these hate groups. They're all, one. So the idea that they were trying to suggest that the Southern Poverty Law Center is taking donors' money and basically, diverting it, that's their mission, to investigate and expose hate groups. So.
Right. Stephen Miller is listed in Hate Watch, their publication, for his.
Which explains why they went after.
That's probably a very good
law center. Yeah. Okay, Bill.
Well, you guys just stole mine. It was going to be Todd Blanche, but I'll go with the entire Justice Department at this point, or Trump's law firm, as I mentioned last week. I mean, what's going on in the Department of Justice, I think it's fair to say all the good people who could get the hell out of there have left. And what they're doing now is Trump's retribution campaign. And I don't know how or if you could ever, even when Trump leaves, turn this around very quickly. I think you've destroyed the independence of the Justice Department, and I don't know that you're ever going to get it back.
Yep, I think you're right.
All right, Nancy.
Well, I had two, but I was going to poke fun at RFK Jr., who was photographed sitting tall in his seat while everyone else was diving under the table at the Correspondents' dinner, and all I could think was him just saying, but anyway. I'm going to go with Jeff Bezos, because apparently word leaked this week that Amazon Studios is considering rebooting The Apprentice and hiring Donald Trump Jr. to be the host.
No, come on.
Presumably because Junior saw his stepmother getting a nice big payout for that ridiculous movie that they made with her, and he's like, "Where's my piece? I want to wet my beak." And this was perhaps the counteroffer. So I just think it's hilarious.
Wow. I think Nancy, for RFK Jr., it's like Rudyard Kipling. Keep your head while others around you lose theirs. Yes. So I think that's what was going on there.
And then I see one of our commenters. I'm just going to put this up here on the screen. Amazon is getting rid of its HR department, letting AI do the hiring. What could possibly go wrong? So that's that's just the cherry on Sunday.
All right, Joel.
I'm going to go with two. One is Whiskey Pete Hegseth, most punchable human in the world. Most punchable human in the world. His disdain for everything. I love every contemptuous answer, quite frankly. I'm digging that quite now. Just ask me, I'm just going to be angry at you. It's the best. He's an asshole. But there's also J.P. Morgan executive Lorna Hadini, I believe, is Hadini, who is alleged to have sexually harassed a young male associate, someone that she was working for her. He was a young Arab man, and she would use derogatory language, give him roofies, Viagra, and just sexually assault him. And sure, it's, I'm telling you, the issues here, these are real, and I feel for the guy because this is again more power exchanges, just like with men do it and women do it. It's the power, and I think it should bring us to an idea of why do these things happen? Why does somebody in such a high-profile position, a woman no less, who knows that she is pretty rarefied air, would engage in such outlandish behavior, and its power and its blindness, and it's feeling like I can get away with anything. So she's a schmuck, and do people think it's cute or funny? It isn't. It's bullshit.
Look at her husband. Her husband was doing the same thing on the side.
Honestly, but you got to realize people's power, the underlings. There's
Ed, everybody's husband can't be Kristi Noem's husband.
Well, that's so for her.
But Joel, I've got one word for you: Baby Girl, which was the Nicole Kidman movie, which had a very similar plot.
It did. Wow. That's right. I didn't watch it. I hear it had a milk drinking scene in it. I was like,
There was that, and apparently Nicole Kidman had so much, how can I put this gently, fun in it that it pretty much wrecked her marriage. Because Keith Urban became ex-urban.
Became suburban.
What took her so long?
No, they divorced. So he literally was Joel ex-urban. So, Allan.
Before we get going, I want to know if Bill would mind if we call him Billy, so we could go Billy Joel. I'm thinking Billy Joel. But anyway, I'm going to go with Alina Habba, I think, incompetent attorney for Trump, who went on The View defending the indictment of Comey and saying, oh, my God, come on, he's the FBI director. He knew what he was doing. I mean, she's not a very good attorney, and
a worse person.
She is a good stooge for Trump, but she's my schmuck of the week.
She's quite the schmuck.
So since Steve had to leave early, I'm going to do one on his behalf. And Steve, I mean, I'm just picking off a list here, so I'm not making this tailor-made. But I've got to give one of the Schmuck Awards to the U.S. State Department's Office of Protocol for in preparation for King Charles III and Queen Camilla coming to Washington. They decided to, as would be expected, festoon the various tree-lined boulevards and avenues of our fair city designed by Pierre Lampont with Australian flags.
Oh, I saw that. They're so dumb. They don't even know what the Union Jack looks like.
Which I have to say is probably as brilliant as when Kuwait was hosting the Asia Games years ago, and a Kazakh athlete won the gold medal, and they played the Kazakhstan national anthem as sung by Sacha Baron Cohen playing Borat.
First of all, I saw Balls Up, the movie. Not so bad, guys. It's on Hulu. It was very funny.
You saw what now?
It's called Balls Up. It's a movie about you got to watch. It's a comedy. I don't like Mark Wahlberg, but the guy with him was great, and Sacha Baron Cohen was hilarious. So you may see it. It's in your feed. It's worth a watch if you like a chuckle.
Okay.
So I've got two schmucks as well. One is CNN gadfly, smug, bum-clenching, suit-wearing Scott Jennings for telling the very young and yet very articulate and eloquent and seasoned Adam Mockler to get his, quote, fucking hand out of my face. It wasn't anywhere close, but Mockler absolutely nailed his Jennings' hypocrisy about supporting long wars. So that was one. The other schmuck is Joel Osteen of Lakewood Church, because he has actually dwindled his congregation to fewer than 16,000 seats. Now, just to give you some context, his mega church, Lakewood Church, used to be the Summit, which was the basketball arena for the Houston Rockets for decades. He bought that out. It has lost 27,000 members over the past 7 years, lost 40% of its donations, in part because the prosperity gospel is a huge turnoff to younger evangelicals who find it to be rather hypocritical, contradictory, and given their own economic plight, simply unsustainable. So Joel Osteen and Scott Jennings, you both. Honorable mention to Patrick McEnroe, the younger brother of John McEnroe, for decrying the fact that universities recruit international students as tennis players. Like, well, what about getting our own American players in there? It's like, do you want to win? That would be rather critical.
And Bjorn Borg are laughing at their ass.
But I always knew that one day America would experience reverse affirmative action. I didn't think it would come from baby brother McEnroe. So, Patty Mac, that one's for you. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, viewers, for just some great comments and some great questions as well. Thank you, Ed Sarpolis. Thank you, Bill Seikaly. Thank you, Joel Sklar. Thank you, Steve Fishman, even though he had to leave early. Thank you, Barb Ingalls. Thank you, Nancy Derringer.
Happy May Day.
Happy May Day. And thank you, and with always the last word, Allan.
Drive home safely.
Have a great week, everybody.